Hello, Donna Lyons here from Provendus Group. I have a question for you. Do you consider yourself a rule breaker or a rule follower? Now, I don't mean the kind of rule breaking that gets you thrown in jail. I really mean the kind of rule breaking in business that creates innovation and helps you stand out from the crowd. I have a confession to make. I used to be a rule follower. Most of my life, I was a rule follower. But then I discovered that if you really want to be successful in business, you need to be a little bit of a rule breaker too. Because rule breaking really means that you're an innovator or perhaps even a market disruptor. But how can we innovate? What are the different ways that we can be innovative in business? Well, there are so many reasons that businesses have for creating innovation, for breaking the rules. One reason might be that there's a need that's not being met. Or perhaps you even started your business because you had a need that wasn't being met. But on top of a need that's not being met, you have to have a new way of looking at things or a new approach to be a true innovator and rule breaker. I'll give you an example. Back in, I believe it was 2002, Julie DeFresco discovered that all three of her young children had type 1 diabetes. Now, this could be a devastating diagnosis for any parent. Her youngest child was 3 years old. And what they learned was that the best treatment for their children, the best medical intervention, was for them to wear an insulin pump. Now think about it. Think about being a young kid and having to wear a medical device all the time. This could be inconvenient at best and really devastating for the child at worst. But it was also necessary because it was a life-saving piece of equipment. So Julie decided that she wanted to do something, she needed to do something to make this better for her kids. But the first thing that had to happen was she had to change her mindset and look at the whole situation differently. She asked herself, what if? And that's what you should do if you want to be an innovator. Ask yourself, what if? And her what if was, what if wearing this medical device, instead of being really awful, could be fun? What if it could be fun? And that's what she set out to do. She partnered with her best friend and they started Pumpware. And Pumpware designed fun, cool, designer, funky cases for the pumps, cases for these medical devices. And what happened was, the other kids at school, when her kids started wearing them, the other kids at school thought they were so cool. Even though they didn't have a medical device, they wanted a case just like Julie's kids had. And that's how Pumpware was born. Out of a necessity, out of a need that wasn't being met, but also out of the creativity and the ability to look outside the box and think outside the box and think, what if? If you want to be an innovator in your industry, then think about what rules you can break. What is everybody else doing, and you're doing too, that keeps you in the pack, that perhaps you can do differently? Ask yourself what assumptions you can challenge. What is it out there? What's out there for you that you can do better than anybody else and that you can be innovative around? If you ask yourself those questions, you too will be a rule breaker and an innovator. And by the way, maybe you are already a rule breaker. And if you are, there's actually an award ceremony for people like you, for small business owners like you. And it's called the Rule Breaker Awards. And if you go to www.rulebreakerawards.com, you can nominate yourself or somebody else for this really cool award. And if you win, there's over $5,000 in prizes just for small business owners. So go check it out. And if you want to read more about innovation and being a rule breaker, you can also read the blog post that I just wrote called Rule Breakers Rule on the Provendus website, provendusgroup.com/blog. Thank you for being part of my first video blog.